Okay, welcome here. This is Shawn Vicknair with Lone Star Karate and Self-Defense. I'm taking a trip, so I'm in the vehicle and had some thoughts that I wanted to kind of share with people. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. What we're going to discuss today is the concept of the reaction, the body's reaction, and the thought reaction of fear, and the psychology of fear in threat-based situations. So first I want to say that fear is good. You need to understand fear. You need to understand how to control that fear. Let's discuss a little bit about the three responses that you're going to have in a threat-based situation. The first response is the fight response. Everybody knows that response. Everybody wants to be able to use that response. The second one is the flight response. We understand those two responses. Pretty much everybody understands that. But what many people don't realize is that the freeze response is the one that most of us are going to do, and the most of us are actually going to do without any training or without any thought, any preparation to these threat-based situations. So let's discuss what's going to happen with that fear-based situation. So in the freeze, anytime that something happens to you and it's taking you by surprise, there's going to be a freeze response. What you need to be able to do is to go from freeze to fight or flight as quickly as possible. And I'm talking milliseconds. If you take 1 or 2 or 3 even seconds to respond, you're probably not going to be able to respond in the time necessary to stop the threat. So you're needing to train, you're needing to prepare. The second thing I want to discuss is the concept of what your body goes through in an instinctive manner when this threat happens to you. The body is primal. We're never, as much as civilized as we become, our body is still going to respond the same way as it did, at the dawn of time. First thing when this adrenalized state happens is that you're going to have this heavy limb syndrome, meaning that the limbs are going to get heavy. It's going to be hard to run. It's going to be hard to punch. It's going to hard to fight back. And as long as you understand that and you train with that mentality, you're not going to be surprised with it. One of the other things, it's kind of faux pas to talk about, but the loss of bladder control. You may actually urinate on yourself or defecate on yourself during this situation. It happens in a lot of these threat-based situations. You ask a lot of law enforcement, military people during these situations, and it happens. Extreme situations, you can definitely have a loss of bladder control. One of the other things I want to discuss is the pain threshold. You will have a higher tolerance of pain during this time because the blood will rush to the vital organs rather than to the limbs. And so we need to understand that when the blood rushes there, it's going to be harder to move those limbs, and also the pain threshold will increase, which is actually a really good thing. But understand that if you do get hurt, if you do get cut or shot or broken bone or whatever, you're going to need to take care of that very soon thereafter, because it's going to definitely affect you. One of the other issues that you're going to have is time distortion. You're going to have this weird effect, and you ask people during the situations, how long did it take for this to happen? And they'll say, oh, it took like 3 or 4 minutes. In actuality, it took about 3 or 4 seconds. Time will slow down or time will speed up during these threat situations. People have actually been able to see bullets flying at their face, the actual outline of these bullets, this knife coming at your face, at your throat. They actually are able to describe the the marks on the knife or the gun. And that's what your body's able to do under these threat situations. So it's important to understand that that's going to happen, and how to control those things and how to use them for your benefit. The last thing I want to talk about is the triggers that are going to affect which response you're gonna have during these threat situations. Many people ask me, well, Shawn, if most of us are going to go into a freeze response, how do I shorten that freeze response to get to that fight or flight response as quickly as possible? Well, it really comes down to your thoughts and how you react, and trick your mind into believing that this thought is going to make you fight or make you run. So many of us, when we're standing across the from a 6 foot, 300-pound person, we're fear. There's a lot of we're scared. There's that freeze response will happen. What you need to do is to trick your mind into believing that you're willing to sacrifice your life for something. Many of us understand that sacrifice of life for our children. We're willing to sacrifice our life for that child. If a car is coming right at us and our child is standing next to us, we don't think about pushing our kid out of the way and taking that car head on, but that's what's going to happen, okay? So we're not going to freeze in that situation. We're going to respond with that fight response, but that flight response is going to be moving that kid out of the way of that car and taking that car instead of that child taking that car. So we need to understand that whatever that passion is that you have, what are you willing to die for? What are you willing to sacrifice your life for? That's what you're going to think about. You're going to trick your mind into believing that that's what you're going to be able to do. When that 6'4" guy, 300-pound guy is standing in between you and your child, you're going to be able to defend them from that guy. So you need to trick your mind into believing that child's being hurt, and you're going into this aggression, this rage, to be able to defend them. And so you need to be able to do that for yourself. So trick your mind, and that's going to be the quickest way to switch from a freeze response to a fight or a flight response. The flight response is not a bad response to have. If that car is coming straight at you, the running is not a bad option. You don't want to stand there and take the brunt of the car. But if it's a guy that's chasing after your child, that's when the fight response has to happen, and be able to quickly switch from freeze to fight or flight. So there you go. You have any thoughts or questions or any anything that you want to add to that, be my guest. Send me an email or shoot me a response. Look forward to hearing from everybody and what your thoughts on this topic was. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye-bye.